Okay, good morning. So, we will begin our lecture today, and last time we had solved a simple problem of drawing a bending moment of a beam which had overhangs on each side. It was symmetrically placed, and we tried to find out a relationship between the total length and the distance between the support, so that the bending moment was minimum. I think in the process we had made a small mistake, but I hope you found out what was the reason why we. So, these are the small things that we have to keep in mind. Now, let us go further on the same subject. If you have, so another, if you have a beam, because this is a very important chapter that we are. So, today's lecture is now 21st lecture, and the date is 28th September. So, we have a beam. We always take example of a simply supported beam, because that is simpler to deal with. Simply supported beam means one end is hinge and other end is, this is the minimum number of support that the beam requires in order to remain in stable equilibrium. So, this is the minimum number of support, because you will have two reactions here and one reaction here only vertical, because it is free to move in x direction. So, three unknowns can be solved by the three conditions of equilibrium in a rigid body. So, therefore, this is a simply supported determinate beam. Now, it is loaded by UDL. Again, why UDL, why not something, because UDL is again is a, so sorry, here let me take a generalized, it is loaded by a general distributed load, some kind of distributed load. I am taking everything positive in the positive direction of the coordinate. So, load here I am taking positive in z direction, that means this P I do not know whether it is coming in the P means load per unit length is a function of x. It is a function of x. Now, today we will try to find out, because you have at any point along the length of the beam, any point means, let me take a point P, capital P on the beam at a distance x from the left hand support. So, this beam, the free body diagram of this beam will be here, it is cut, here you have the reaction, if this point is A. So, let us call this as what is this vertical reaction V A, we can call it as V A reaction here, this loading is there, and this part of the beam now is in equilibrium under the action of external load, and the reactions are the internal forces that will exist over here. What are the internal forces that will exist over here? You have here a shear force at section x, you have a bending moment, these are all positive, I am drawing just positive bending moment, and you also have an axial force N x. So, you have a V, we have a M and N at a distance or at point P, this is your point P, which is at a distance x from the left hand end. So, we would like to today find out and see if there exists any relationship between this load, that means P, this P load, that means this distributed load P x, shear force and bending moment. So, today's lecture concerns, we are trying to study a relationship between P x, V x and M x. Yes, please. So, how to do it? How to go about it? Best way is to go about it is to take a small element of the beam, cut between sections x and x plus delta x. What is the meaning of x plus delta x? That means you go further and you have another section here x plus delta x, and consider the equilibrium of this portion whose length is dx. So, you have a beam here whose length is only dx. I am trying also the depth here because it becomes clear. This is a center line, this is x, this distance, this is x and x plus delta x is here. So, this point is P, this is Q. Of course, there is a load which is varying, it is a distributed load. It is a distributed load, and this small element of dx of size dx will be in equilibrium provided or under the action of this external load which we are seeing, and plus the loads that will be the internal loads that will be exposed when you have cut at a section P and at Q. So, what are the forces that exist at these 2 points? Of course, at Q you have the shear force, you also have the bending moment, you also have the axial force. These are the positive values are shown in the positive direction. Now, on this face is negative. So, the shear force here is positive, shear force is down, the positive bending moment is like this, and axial force. Now, if it is axial force will not make much difference, because this beam is not subjected to any axial force. In fact, axial force will become 0 in this case if it is subjected only to a transverse load P x. So, let us call that this bending moment over here is M, this shear force is V, and when you go from this section to the next section which is at a distance which is very close to P and Q are very close to each other, and therefore, there will be some variation in this, and this will become V plus delta V, while this one will become M plus delta M. Some change as you go along the length of the beam, these quantities will be changing. That is what we are trying to say. So, this will become, there is some small increment dm, here there is a small increment dV, and now this beam is, or this element of the beam PQ is in a state of equilibrium under the action of these forces. So, this diagram is very important. Now, this is a positive phase, it is shown all these forces are positive, you have seen, Now, this one is a negative phase, this is positive x, and then these are the on a negative phase in the negative direction. So, negative z direction shear force will be 0 here, positive z direction shear force will be 0, and if this is a bending moment which is going in the y direction positive. So, here it will be in the negative y direction, because this vector will be negative. Anyway, so let us consider the equilibrium of this element. So, our problem will get resolved. So, please keep your eyes on this, how to find out a relationship between these. So, our job is to find out a relationship. Now, go to the horizontal equilibrium. Anyway, if no axial force, so you have no axial equilibrium is satisfied. So, sigma of, that means sigma of force in xx direction, if you take in x direction, that is equal to 0. So, this is satisfied. Let us take sum of all forces in z direction, z is vertical direction. So, we have, please look at this diagram. So, here we have, in this is z direction. So, we have v plus dv, we have v plus dv, a small change. On this, there is no other force on this face. So, this is all. Now, come to this face. Here you have moment, and so we have a negative v going downwards. There is no other force over here. At this bottom face there is no force. At the top face you have p x, and that is working. This is going in x direction, I am sorry, in z direction. So, this is in z direction, and then let us assume that of course, this is changing with respect to x. This point is x and this is x plus delta x. Assume that p x is not changing within this small length p q. So, it will be, I will just say p x into delta x will be the total force, that will be p x multiplied by. So, p x is this value, there can be some change here. I can also take p x plus the average of these two, but let me just say p x multiplied by delta x is the total force, and that should be equal to. So, this is the vertical. Now, you have, so this v and this v. So, you get here dv by dx, rate of change of v with respect to x, plus p x equal to 0. Please take, because after all these are small distances. So, how do you, because this is some, this will give us some differential equation. So, let us take limit of this expression, take limit of this expression as, see, delta x has to be as delta x tends to 0. So, I think we all know how to find out limit. We have learnt limit, and here we are making use of the concept of limit. I think when we study this in mathematics, we do not realize where we are going to use it, but this is here we are going to use it. So, p x, we are taking limit of this. So, limit will give you, limit of this quantity is defined as dv by dx. That is how a derivative is defined. I think that is the basic definition of derivative. So, you get here dV rate of change of V with respect to x plus the load acting at section that equal to 0. So, we have got a relationship between shear force and the transverse load that is acting on the beam. We can also write this as dV by dx equal to minus Px. Okay. Rate of change of V is equal to minus the value of the distributed load that is acting on the beam. So, this is a good relation, this is a very important relation which relates shear force with. Now, we have so far we have used two one is sigma fx and other one is sigma. Now, there is one for this small element, we also have one more equilibrium condition, and that is moment of all forces. So, sum of all forces acting on this element must be equal to of this element must be equal to 0. Then now, which is the point about which I should take? I think I will take moment about point q. The reason is because the moment of this V plus dV will become 0. I am taking moment of all forces that are acting on this element about point q. So, moment, sum of sigma of moment about q, that also will be 0. At any point will be 0, but I am taking for convenience q. So, you have q means you will be having take moment. So, you have a let us take this moment as, so m plus dm this one will be 0. Now, come to this face you have a negative, this m is positive if you are taking. So, this is minus m, and then moment about this point of this shear. Now, V into minus V into dx. Why I have taken minus V? Because this one is causing a moment about this point which is anti-clockwise. So, V into dx plus moment of plus moment about this point, this load also will produce some moment. So, if you assume this Px to be constant here, not varying. So, Px I will say plus Px multiplied by dx is the total load acting over here in the center of this, multiplied by the lever arm is only dx by 2. So, I think we have done all the loads have been taken care of, and now we have got this. September. Okay. So, then this m and this m, let us divide throughout by dx. So, you get dm by dx minus V plus P into dx by 2 equal to 0. Now, this is also going to give you a differential equation. So, let us take the limit of this expression, take limit of this expression as delta x tends to 0. So, limit tend to 0 dm by dx minus V plus Px into dx by 2. Limit of this will become, sorry, this is del only, up to here it is del, I have not yet. Now, this will define the derivative. So, this will become now dm by dx, this will remain as it is v, and limit of this as delta x, because there is a product of dx. So, that will tend to be 0. So, plus 0 equal to 0, and this gives me another relation which is very important, which relates moments and the shear force, that rate of change of moment minus v is equal to 0. So, we get one more relationship between bending moment and shear. At any cross section, the bending moment, derivative of bending moment is equal to the shear force. You can also write this expression as dm by dx equal to v x. Of course, these are all at section x. So, these are the two important relationships, and they are very useful, because once we have these, we can so we have got two relationships. So, we got d m by dx equal to v, and also dv by dx equal to p. So, one relation we got it. So, we got one relation, we got dv by d, rate of change of shear force is equal to minus p. P is the intensity of the load that is acting on the beam. So, this is one, and then second one is dm by dx is equal to v, just now we have derived, is the shear force, rate of change of moment is equal to the shear force at that section 2. I think we can combine these two in some way. Yes, 2 can be substituted in 1. Substitute two in 1 like this, d upon dx m v, v is equal to dm by dx equal to minus p, and therefore, we get here second derivative of m with respect to x, second derivative equal to minus p. So, directly also we can relate bending moment also to p load. So, this is the new relation which we have got. Inversely or conversely, one way of the presenting the problem is that you are given the geometry of the problem, boundary condition and the loadings, and then you are asked to find out what will be the bending moment diagram, what will be the shear force diagram, etc., etc. That is one way. Other one, now we have got these relationships, and therefore, we can integrate these relationships. For example, the first and second, I think we can integrate, and for example, first relationship we can see here that v can also be found out, v can be found out from 0 to x minus p into dx Yes. From first. Second, that means if P is given to us, just the loading, through integration also we can find out the value of shear force at any cross section. Similarly, from the second one also we can find out bending moment as integral of shear force like this. So, knowing shear force, it is possible to draw or possible to compute the bending moment. That means, without having a reference to the loading, it is possible, if you know the shear force diagram, I can get my bending moment. If I know the loading diagram, I can get my shear force diagram. So, we call this such problem as inverse problem, inverse. That means, you are given bending moment, shear force, axial force diagrams, and from there you have to find out something, I mean, you have to find out the loading in some case. Sometimes you have to, if the shear force is given, find out the bending moment. If moment is given, please find out the something else. So, these things are inverse. So, such problems are called inverse. Inverse problem. And there are quite a few problems which are solved. Please solve in your book on Popov, by Popov. So, please look up, please look up the solved problems given in your textbook. If we get time, we will certainly solve a few, but otherwise please just have a bit of practice by using this inverse approach. Okay, so we will I think today we will stop here. We will continue the lecture next time. Thank you very much.